Should dual agencies be outlawed in California? Please welcome the broker of Versant Realty, Jeff Campbell.
And he's back. Jeff Campbell's in the house. What's up, my friend?
Good to see you.
Thanks for having me. All right, yeah, so you've done recently something that has never been done, at least to my knowledge, in San Diego real estate space.
Well, we're trying to cut edge a little bit. As you know, we talked about this earlier, and that is that for the first time, a real estate company has opened a real estate office in a major shopping mall in San Diego County.
And this is Versant Realty.
Versant Realty.
You recently partnered with
Risha Gornada.
Yep. And so you guys, this is, I mean, I've never seen a real estate office in a shopping mall before. I mean, I've never heard of that idea, but it makes sense. Can you believe you were the first ones to it?
There have been other companies that have opened in malls across the country. Right now in San Diego County, in the major malls, we don't have a real estate company. But think about it for a second. The beauty of this is that this is one of the greatest tools for sellers, because sellers can now market, advertise, and promote their properties in a mall. And the beauty here is that these are to people who don't even know they're buyers yet. You see, all of us realtors promote on internet and Zillow, Trulia, everywhere on the internet, on the traditional channels. Here's a non-traditional channel, because the traditional channels are marketed towards people who are looking. What if you marketed your property to people who don't even know they're looking yet? Wow, that's a sphere that's untapped, and we hope to tap that.
And the design of the office is also different, right? I mean, we're going through a 360 picture right now that was taken by George Kinner and was posted on your Facebook page.
I had to learn to tie a bow tie for this one, all right? And it took me a long time on YouTube to go through that.
That's the mall in the background there. I mean,
yeah,
that's
right the mall in the background. And we set Risha and I came together, and Risha gets most of the credit for the design, which is 5 farm tables and 3 living rooms in this office, which is really wonderful.
Guy, Norm. You've had Norm around forever.
You remember Norm? And there's Chuck. Brent just Air Force 4 years, finished his tour duty, and now is coming to real estate. And Joanne and Greg and there's just part of the folks that came by. Yeah. So that's wonderful.
This was on grand opening night.
Yeah.
Really, really, really cool stuff. Yeah. And so you've changed the game.
Well,
so to speak.
We're seeing what it's like.
And you have an office that's totally open. There's no enclosed office spaces.
Right, so it's totally open. So when you come by the office, it's arms wide open. People look in, they can see the whole office. It feels very inviting and comfortable.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so very excited for you, by the way.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You know, Risha is a great person and a great agent, so I'm glad you guys are partnered up.
Yeah.
And there's some big things coming down the pipe here. I mean, as far as, and dual agency's always been sort of on the cusp of discussion in real estate. Is this legitimate? And should it be something that should be outlawed? Should there be rules? Should it be monitored? Should it be managed somehow by the governing bodies? Right. But now we have a real bill that's come up and is going to be voted on, I guess.
AB 1059, authored by Lorena Gonzalez, who is San Diego District, wonderful legislator. She's wonderful. However, she is putting forth this bill that's in judiciary right now that's talking about not allowing commercial brokers to represent both buyer and seller, and that's tough. That's really tough, because if you think about this for a moment, all right, you are advertising a property for sale, for lease, and a prospective client comes to you and says, I'd like to lease or buy that. However, if this bill passes, that brokerage cannot represent that buyer. They might have to say, yes, we have it for listed, but you need to go to another place to go get more information or to purchase it. And that's kind of tough. So we're hoping to help give her a bit more education and have conversations with her to really understand the reality of this bill.
Okay, so you think this is a disadvantage to the consumer then, or the potential?
Well, it can be a disadvantage to the business practitioners, because I think it restricts business, the ability to represent both buyer and seller. And it also can be tough for the consumer because now the consumer is going to spend more time. And if you spend more time in a hot market, you're subject to maybe losing a property. So time is key and element here.
Okay, so it might be a situation where, you know, someone comes to the commercial broker and say, oh, you see you have this listing, and then they say, well, I'm sorry, we can't help you.
Right.
Because there's a new law in place. We have to send you somewhere else.
Right.
And it would lose time in that situation. Would they also potentially, does it create more opportunities for more of the same, like collusion, or, you know, somebody say, oh, okay, well, now we're going to just refer our people to this guy, and he's really working for us, but he's not working for, you know what I mean? Is there stuff like that that you're concerned about too?
So let's think about this. The nature of the bill is good in spirit, which is that some people believe that you can't represent both buyer and seller and do it effectively and fairly. And the actuality is, yes, you can, in the spirit of full disclosure and disclosing the right things. We recently had a court case that has come down and is continually evolving, the Horicki versus Coldwell Banker case, that has to do with dual agency. And we're dissecting that and taking a look at the aspects of that. But the important thing is that you can represent both buyer and seller and be fair and disclose in full all aspects that you should disclose and still represent a good transaction.
Okay.
And that's important.
And you believe that across the board, not just in commercial. This is commercial we're talking about.
Correct, correct.
So is there a thought in the real estate community that if this becomes the norm in the commercial space, that it would then naturally transgress over to the residential space?
Derek, you're thinking along the right lines, is that if what's good in commercial is good in residential real estate. So if something passes in commercial, likely that can be the case in residential. And so think about it for a moment. If you're a seller and you have a sign planted out in the front of a yard, and that sign says, hey, we're for sale, give me a call, here's my phone number, all right? And if you can no longer represent buyer and seller, you'd say, yes, I represent the seller, but you need to go get the information elsewhere. And that's kind of tough,
sort
as
of
you can imagine, yeah.
You and your wife, or like me and my ex-wife did, we went and got a divorce with the same attorney.
Okay.
Okay, we got a divorce, we had the same attorney. Now that's the equivalent of a real estate dual agency, right?
No, it is not. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And I'm going to put a strike up, the Simon Cowell strike on that one, because that's not it. I've heard the argument before. Well, you know what? A attorney can't represent two sides of an argument. Think about it. Real estate is not an argument. It's where people are coming together. And yes, you can make that representation on something like you described, where it's two parties that might be feuding on something. That's something where you do need independent counsel and representation. But when two people are coming together to do something that they both want, think of any sales atmosphere, car dealerships, mercantiles, anything that you're going to buy.
Retail, yeah.
Retail, you don't have two different representatives. You have one person quite often that is helping both parties be satisfied. And yes, you can do that. You can represent both sides.
And that did happen, by the way. We had a successful divorce with one attorney, which is my point, that it can be done. Mm-hmm. It can be done. Right. And so until they say, well, you know, attorneys can't represent both sides, until they say that, I don't see how they could tell agents or anyone who's in the world of sales that you can't represent both sides. You know what I mean? I think it would start with, well, if it's really a conflict and there's really an issue here, then it would start there, right? It would start at law, and then it would have to come down from there.
This is an ongoing debate, and it's something that realtors pay special attention to, and they want to make sure that everybody is represented fairly, appropriately, and to the greatest level that they can. And as long as we abide by that, we can continue to represent both sides and have a dual agency scenario.
All right. Well, good luck with everything, my friend. Congrats on the office.
Thank you.
Fantastic to have you, Jeff Campbell.
Thank you.
Now, Versant
Realty.
Realty. Visit the location in the Grossmont Mall. You can get everything at that Grossmont. That's why I love going there. I mean, everything. They have Target and Walmart in the same place, and somewhere in the middle. Yeah, Macy's. And in the middle, Versant Realty and Jeff Campbell. Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else. We do it all commercial free.